I think today I'd like to sort of summarise about the enthusiasm that everyone has for this topic. All the businesses around the room, they really need these kind of digital skills, so they're crying out for them. So they obviously have a very large incentive to try and assist. The academic people obviously want to try and, if there is a gap, to try and fill it. I think the biggest thing that came out of the room today was the fact that there's discrepancies that they have in incentives. The schools are often focused on A levels and O levels. The universities are in publishing papers, and businesses just want to make sure the business is interested. So it's how we can change things to get people's incentives to align. So whether that could be sort of tax breaks of businesses to help colleges and universities. I don't think there's as much incentives at the moment for businesses to help, apart from to identify good talent. So they have a very short-term view that I can go in, I can help universities, I can help colleges, and from that I can identify who the best people are. There's no sort of long-term benefits, and I think there needs to be some way of actually incentivising both the businesses and the colleges and universities to work together to solve the problem. And I think that will help a lot. Otherwise, it will be another talking shop where we have recommendations that don't actually happen. People react on incentives, I think, and I think if you don't give them those kind of incentives, then you won't necessarily get what you want. The sort of tax incentives, I think, for businesses to assist, so they actually get some reward. I think, again, rewarding long-term sustainable jobs, because I think things like apprenticeships is often a company can put a lot of effort into bringing people through, and you're not always sure that person's going to stay with you or not. So you put a lot of effort in, hopefully they will, but they don't always necessarily do. So being able to reward businesses that do put that effort in, I think, is important. Making sure that universities, colleges and schools are incentivised to work with industry. I don't think they are at the moment. There's a lot of discussions around the writing of papers or the passing of exams. How do the teachers and lecturers get incentivised to actually work with industry? That was kind of interesting. I mean, one of the conversations coming out on our table was that they are given money to send their students abroad for placements. We often take in foreign students for placements. There doesn't seem to be a scheme for local placements that we were aware of, and they weren't aware of. So if there is one, then that needs to be better funded, better published. It might sound a bit controversial, but it's one of the things that we're seeing happening, which is kind of strange. We're really proud of being based in the Southwest. We want to make sure that the Southwest is a great place going forward. The great thing about digital skills is the fact that you can compete in a global market in the Southwest, which to me is really, really great, because otherwise, you have to move away to become a world beater. Whereas with digital skills, you can do that from anywhere on the planet, and that's important. No, I don't think so. There's a lot of talk about connectivity, and when people talk about connectivity, they look at rail and they look at road, and they look at do we have a local airport, for example? Where actually the biggest issue of connectivity for us is actually digital connectivity. Do we have super fast broadband, for example, in towards remote towns and villages? We don't. We struggle with that. So that is an area that does need to be stepped up in order for us to actually compete on a global layer. If you look at a lot of the sort of startups, even in the internet, they still congregate towards high connectivity areas, and there's a very good reason for that. Whereas one of the great benefits of working in the Southwest is we have a beautiful location. We have the moors, we have the sea. It's a great place to work. And people really appreciate that. Therefore, if we can give them high quality, high skilled jobs in this area, then it should be a boom time for the Southwest. And I think if we can't provide those sort of jobs, then we will become a desolate backwater, which will be a real shame because it's an amazing place to live. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Goss has been is a very fast growing company. So our demands for people with exceptional digital skills is really, really strong, and it is really difficult to find people of a really high caliber. It does. There was this conversation earlier going on about that. You have people that can use IT, and then you have people who can, break down what IT is into its components and actually create information technology. And I think they are two different cases. So when you're actually looking at this piece as a whole, I think, do you want to be a world beater in information technology and the ability to create world-class IT, or are you looking at creating people who can just use IT? Goss, we have the aspiration of being a world beater in actually creating IT. So we need exceptionally talented people to do that, and it's really hard to find those people. So having a larger pool of people to choose from is really important to us. We work with the universities as much as we can to try and encourage them to look at cutting edge and bleeding edge IT projects, because that's where the creativity is. There's a lot of conversations about creativity as well as technology, and a lot of the cutting edge things that change the world come from creativity as well as the sort of engineering part of information technology and digital skills.